Yeah. And you can leave some things to the audience's imagination, not the entire movie. This is like a book. I'm doing all the work here. I have to imagine the gory death. I have to imagine the titties. Like, come on, man.
This is like a book. Oh my God.
Lights, camera, and action. Welcome to the I Remember Liking That Movie podcast. Remember those childhood movies you loved? We're going to watch them again and find out if they're still as amazing as you remember. Let's get ready to join Anna and Jimmy as they go back and watch those movies you remember being oh so awesomely good. Horror movies that scared. Comedy movies that dared. Damn! And action movies so preposterously ludicrous that they defied the laws of common sense. Now, here's your hosts, Anna Santos and Jimmy Coates.
Welcome to the I Remember Liking That Movie podcast. And this is our first of the new year, or New Year's Eve. This drops. But we are going to preview and watch Terror Train, starring Jamie Lee Curtis. Do you remember Terror Train? Like, how much do you remember it?
Actually, it's funny because I rewatched it a few years ago, probably 5 or 6 years ago, maybe a little more, but not more than 10 years ago. I know that for sure. Because I was like, I'm pretty sure I've watched Terror Train. I remember watching it, so I rewatched it about between 5 and 10 years ago. So I remember a decent-ish amount, not a lot, though. I'd like to be like, I remember lots of murders on a train. I remember Jamie Lee Curtis being kind of clueless through half of it and then figuring it out. But lots of murders on a train. It was good.
I remember watching this not in 1980 when it came out. I would have been way after that. And the only reason I probably watched it, well, I would have watched it anyways if it was a horror movie. But Jamie Lee Curtis.
Well, yeah. She's amazing. Also, I just realized that this movie came out 3 days after my birthday. Ooh. My actual birthday, like date of birth. So I was 3 days old.
Oh, when you were born, right?
When this movie came out, I was 3 days old.
So you did not watch it in 1980?
Yeah, I did not watch it in theaters when it came out, no.
All right. Yeah, I remember liking it. I do not remember a lot about it. I remember that it was a pretty standard trope, but it might have been new at 1980, but used throughout the 80s, where innocent person gets tricked or something bad happens to him, takes revenge on the people that did it to him, which was pretty standard in a lot of slashers that would follow. Yeah. So let's go to let's go to the box office first. There was not a lot about the box, and I don't know why. I don't know if this was because it was by 20th Century Fox, so I don't get it. It came out October 3rd, 1980. It had a budget of $3.5 million and grossed, let's say 9?
8.
8 million. My slide thing is covering it. So it looks like it made a bit of money, but in fact, 20th Century Fox, because they were jumping on the slasher wagon, they put a $5 million ad campaign out with tons of billboards with Jamie Lee Curtis. So this movie did not do as well as they were hoping. They might have lost money. I'm sure they regained it in videos and
videos and streaming rights and things like that. I'm sure they've recouped their money by today, and then some.
All right, so let's go to the tape of this movie. Terror Train was released in 1980. It is a horror. It is rated R and comes in at 1 hour and 37 minutes. There's the DVD cover. Tagline: experience the most terrifying ride of your life on the Terror Train.
Okay, not bad. A little clunky.
Yeah, maybe they should have left on the Terror Train off. Just experience the most terrifying ride of your life.
Yeah, that would have been better.
The boys and girls of Sigma Pi, some will live, some will die.
That one's great. That one's actually really good.
Don't waste money on a return fare. You won't be coming back. A nightmare journey to hell. all aboard if you dare.
That's actually not bad. Although, if you take off the nightmare journey to hell and just all aboard if you dare,
That would have been better.
that would have been better.
And this was 1980. I think catching
Yeah.
at the right time. They were pretty new at it.
I guess.
But yeah, less is more. Terror wears many disguises, all of them deadly.
I see where they were going with
Yeah.
it, but it wasn't quite there.
No. And that's it. No, a couple of good taglines.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it wasn't terrible.
Synopsis. During a hazing, a fraternity of pre-med students has a particular sinister prank in store for one of their more timid pledges, Derek McKinnon. With help of co-ed, Alana Maxwell, Jamie Lee Curtis, they pull off the prank so well that the pledge needs to be institutionalized as a result. What the fuck did they do to this guy? After several years pass and people forget the incident, those involved with the prank are ready to celebrate their graduation by having a costume party on a train, but they haven't escaped their past yet.
Yeah, hazing and initiation, especially in the Greek system, rough.
Yeah.
So, like, it's getting better now.
Actually, like high school hazing in the 80s and 90s were pretty
80s, 90s, and I'd even say early 2000s. Like, schools
It
were
got
filled with a bunch of
better,
assholes.
but it was still I remember when I went to high school, it was still pretty. It wasn't as bad as some of the stories I heard from a few years ago.
Yeah, we didn't really have that in my school. Mind you, I had a weird school because I remember a lot of people were like, "Oh, who were the cliques?" And I was like, "Well, everybody kind of hung out with their friend group, but in the cafeteria, you just kind of go around to tables. Like, it wasn't so harsh at my school. I'd like to clarify."
Yeah, you
Although
were
I'm
at
sure
an
we
old
still
girl
had
Catholic
kids.
school, weren't you?
I was at an all-girls Catholic school, yeah.
Yeah.
And I wasn't exactly a popular girl, but I wasn't like one of the unpopular girls either. I was just kind of mid. And I was happy there.
And here is the poster. Terror Train.
That conductor is terrifying.
Well, there was two posters. The first poster, because they, like I said, they put a $5 million thing out. The first poster had the conductor just on the poster. And then they did a second poster with the train, and I guess it broke down. There's a fire there where all the kids are out. And that's where it says the boys and girls of Sigma Pi. Some will live, some will die. It's not a bad poster. Like, again, you sold me at slasher movie.
Yeah.
Like, it's not hard.
I was like, wait, they're stuck on a train. That's also one of my favorite mystery tropes is like the isolated, no access to the outside. You can't call for help because help can't make it to you. It's one of my favorite kind of horror movies, horror books, mystery books, thrillers. Like, I love the isolation.
And the train's cool too. I love like the new Murder on the Orient Express by Kevin Braun. Oh fuck, what's his name? That
Branagh?
dude. Yeah.
Branagh?
Actually, the third one is out now on Disney Plus.
I want to watch that.
Yeah.
The Haunting in Venice.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I love Agatha Christie. She's one of my favorite authors.
They're good. They're good books and they make good movies.
My sister watched Murder on the Orient Express and then she started to tell me what the story was. And I was like, no, I know what the plot is. And she was
one
like,
of the most famous books in the world.
She was like, oh, you do? And I was like, yeah, I read the book.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, there's a book? And I was like, oh, yeah, there's a book. And I read it and it was really good. So yes, I want to watch the movie. Anyways.
All right. Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb.
Let's do this.
16 critics have this movie coming in at 44%.
Yeah.
5,000 plus audience viewers have it at 38%. One of those rare horror movies where the audience dislikes it more than the critics.
Yeah. Surprising, but not.
We'll start with the fresh, and you may go first.
Oh, thank you. Really darn great by slasher standards, and even kind of pretty good by the standards of decent, functional, God-fearing modes of cinema. Tim Brayton, Antagony and Ecstasy, original score 7 out of 10. I really like that.
Just a little more skillfully done than many of its contemporaries, and whatever esteem I have for it is largely nostalgic, but at least it tries to be different. Rob Gonzalez? Yes. Rob's Movie Vault, original score B.
While Terror Train has a good reputation among horror fans, until the hectic climactic battle between Final Girl and Killer, it's mostly run-of-the-mill slasher fare that distinguishes itself by having Jamie Lee Curtis as the final girl. Mark H. Harris, Black Horror Movies, original score 3 out of 5.
I think what people are forgetting is that people that like horror movies, I'm fine with run of the mill slashers. Yeah, it's great if you have a little something different, but if you give me just I'm fine watching just a run by the number slasher film. It's fun.
I'm not expecting like Machiavellian plot lines.
No.
Or kills. Like, give me a
If you
slasher.
give me a bit of that, awesome. That sticks out more than the other ones. But I'm just fine. I'm fine with watching just regular slasher. We'll take turns because this is from the audience because I've started putting these in now. Above average slasher made with some style and atmosphere, but never leaving the boundaries of the genre. William K., 3 stars. He's out of 5.
Out of 5? Okay.
Yeah.
Terror Train is a movie I thought I liked. Okay, wait. Terror Train is a movie that I thought I liked it more than I did. With this rewatch, I see more of the issues. Don't get me wrong, I do like it. I mean, who doesn't like Jamie Lee Curtis as the final girl and a group of victims, I mean young people, trapped on a train for New Year's Eve? RP, 3 stars.
This fun romp and Jamie Lee Curtis was born with the ability to sing. If you don't have fun watching this trashy 80s horror, I don't know why you take life so seriously. Unknown, 4 stars.
Valid.
Right. Rotten. There you go.
A run-of-the-mill slasher film whose central gimmick is setting its action on a train. Nick Shager, Lessons of Darkness, original score C.
Terror Train is at best workmanlike in its matter-of-fact killings and downright silly and nonsensical in the way the mystery and the fake-outs are handled. Charles Webb, MTV.
The classic horror films of the 1930s appealed to the intelligence of its audiences, to their sense of humor and irony. Movies like Terror Train just don't care. They're a series of sensations strung together on a plot. Roger Ebert, Chicago Sun-Times, original score 1 out of 4. Dang.
Yeah, and we know he doesn't really like horror films.
Really like horror movies. So.
And here are some audience ones. I'll start. One of the silliest slasher films of the 1980s and probably an even worse horror film for Jamie Lee Curtis beside Halloween Resurrection. Antonis K., half a star.
Okay, valid. A flick so long and tedious that its rare actual kills still won't make you feel like you're watching a slasher. Unknown, 2 stars.
What it lacks in terror, it makes up for in Train. Unfortunately, it's not enough to save this movie. Unknown, 2.5 stars. Oh, that was good. You should have put your name down.
I know. Whoever you are, sir, please let us know.
Makes up for in Train. All right. IMDb. 14,000 user ratings, has this about 5.8 out of 10. This is now kind of not bad for a horror movie.
Yeah.
We've seen a lot worse.
True story.
You may start.
Forget my top 25 list. This is my new favorite movie. 10 out of 10. FF Boy Kazi? FFBO Ikazi?
Sure.
Yeah, that's it.
I didn't read it. I don't know if this was sarcasm. But a New Year's party in a train? Sign me up. 9 out of 10. Reaper Crew 05584.
80s creepy classic Terror Train is just the ticket for a one-way death trip to slasher heaven. 8 out of 10. Weirdling Wolf.
Slasher film on a train? Sure. Why not? 7 out of 10. Holly L. Dunbar.
Pretty silly, but you might enjoy it anyway. 6 out of 10. Groovy Doom.
Murder, Magic, and Meh. 5 out of 10. Young Colin.
This mediocre slasher quickly runs out of steam. 4 out of 10. B.A. Harrison.
If it weren't for JLC, Jamie Lee Curtis, nobody would remember this movie. 3 out of 10. Metal Geek.
It doesn't know what it wants to be. 2 out of 10. Smadisha?
Sure.
Smadisia?
Terror Train. Even the bumps are uneven. 1 out of 10. Edwa Green.
Oh, Edward Green.
All right. So there is all that. We will now watch the preview of Terror Train and then make our prediction.
I'm ready.
get back on that track. Nobody does! Help! Nice gag, dog. Help me! Help! You'll die. At this temperature, you'll die. You'll die. Come on, no! Come on! No!
For the students aboard, it's going to be the one party to end them all.
They're always walking out of my parties. But this time, you can't. Magic. My last big college party. It's a joke. Goddamn practical joke.
Train.
I don't want to get back on that track.
And this is why I don't like practical jokes. 'Cause then you're gonna
Yeah.
end up on a train with a serial killer. Do you see what happens?
All right. What's your prediction?
I think I'm gonna like it, but it's gonna be cheesy as hell.
Yeah, it wasn't the greatest trailer, but again, it's a slasher. Jamie Lee Curtis should be.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna enjoy it for what it is.
Oh
I
yeah, I'm
hope.
not expecting brilliance,
No.
but like a nice steady slasher.
Yeah.
I think it'll fit the bill.
Yeah, just give me a regular slasher. It's fine.
Yep.
All right. Well, we are going to go watch Terror Train, and when we come back, we are going to review it.
You heard them. Movie time. Let's all go to the lobby and get ourselves a treat, and then watch a classic kick-ass movie from whenever the one we're about to watch was made.
Welcome back to the I Remember Liking That Movie podcast. Did you watch Terror Train?
Oh, sorry, I did.
And what are your initial thoughts?
I'm confuzzled. That's my initial. Although, also creeped out, but confuzzled.
About 20 minutes, and I wish this train would derail and kill everyone and just end the movie.
Hold on, I made a note. I made a note where I was like 47 minutes in, and oh God, what was it? I was like, okay, frats are gross. Totally forgot this whole opening. Defiling a corpse. Something so that I was like, we made it 47 minutes in, and I was like, it feels like nothing has happened.
Yeah. This movie felt a lot longer than it was because only an hour and a half or an hour and 37 minutes.
Yeah, it wasn't that long.
It
In
felt
theory.
long.
It felt
It
so
really
long.
did.
It felt. I also completely forgot the entire beginning part.
Yeah, me
It
too.
felt like I was watching it for the first time. I was like, what is going? Oh, is that why this whole thing happens?
Yeah. I think
And
this is one of
also,
those.
yeah.
I was a kid, watched it. It's just a horror movie. It's just happy to watch a horror movie
Yeah.
and watch a lot better ones after it. I don't know. I'm not sure.
There was a lot that was very underwhelming.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of creepy moments, but this
Yeah,
was
there
not
was
a
creepy moments. And
creepy moments, but this was not a creepy movie.
no. And at the beginning, it had a lot like that Black Christmas 1974. That
Yeah.
the music, the lighting, it was had that same vibe. It was not the same movie.
It was not. Not even a little bit.
No.
Like, no.
All right, well, let's go through this movie. Terror Train, 1980. At a Northern Illinois University fraternity's New Year's Eve party, a reluctant Alana Maxwell is coerced into participating in a prank. She lures the shy and awkward pledge, Kenny Hampson, into a room on the promise of sexual liaison, where the medical students have placed a woman's corpse, stolen from the medical school, in bed. Kenny is traumatized by the prank and sent to a psychiatric hospital. That's right. Putting a dead body in a bed and tricking a guy to having sex with it was a prank.
That's a little
Hardcore
simplified,
shit.
right? Because it's
Yeah.
not just a corpse. It's a corpse with its limbs cut off
Yeah.
and cutting into the like the body has been cut into the torso. Like this is not, and it's an older woman on top of that. So this is not just like they've taken a corpse and put it down. No, they've taken the various body parts
Yeah.
and sort of reconstructed this. Like I was like, ew.
And Jamie Lee Curtis was behind a curtain or something like that, like
Yeah.
saying, "Come closer, come kiss me." Da, da, da.
Yeah.
Yeah,
To
and he
this
took
poor
off his
kid.
pants and
I was
yeah.
like, frats are gross. Like, I know technically they're not supposed to do this kind of stuff anymore. This like hazing the incoming like pledges. They're not supposed to do this.
Well, this was a little out there.
People have died
Yeah.
at like frat hazing things because they're like, no, it's totally fine to not have them drink anything for like 6 days. If they want it big enough, they'll do it. So but the whole thing, I was just like, ew. And why are you proud of yourselves and laughing about this?
Yeah. And this was also a running theme for a lot of movies in the 80s where someone gets a prank or something and the revenge aspect of the slasher film.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So 3 years later, the members of the same fraternities and sororities hold a New Year's Eve costume party aboard a train. They include class clown Ed, prank ringleader Doc, Jackson, Mitchie, Elena's best friend, and Elena's boyfriend, Mo, and Elena. Also aboard is a magician and his female assistant hired to entertain the students. This is starting off okay. Like I said, it had kind of that Black Christmas vibe. It was this movie was released in 1980, but it was made in 1979. It had some creepy feels to it.
I had high hopes for it at this point of the film.
Yeah, the dialogue was a little cheesy right off the hop. Like the jokes, these young people were at best dad jokes.
That's being generous. That's being super generous.
40 and 50-year-old men were like writing, and this was like, I'm pretty sure this is what the hip young people sound like. Old dudes back in the 70s.
My kids say that this is funny.
Yeah. Ed is murdered prior to boarding, and the killer dons Ed's Groucho Marx mask, allowing him to board unnoticed. So Ed gets stabbed, wanders around to everyone.
Did we see the stabbing?
No.
I rewound it a couple times, and I'm like, am I just missing it?
There were a couple things that I'm like, what the hell? What happened?
Yeah, but all of a sudden he's like holding a sword and stabbed.
Yeah.
Which apparently stopped him from being able to talk.
Yeah. Because everyone's like, hey, look at Ed.
Oh, it's not funny. Ha ha ha. And then he turns around and you see the sword sticking out of his back. And I was like, I'm sorry, was your mouth taped shut?
Well, I actually made a note here. Like, Ed can't muster one help, one scream, one hand single.
Anything? No. He's just apparently struck dumb with a sword through his gut and then dies quietly on the tracks.
Yeah, everyone's getting on the train, and Eduardo is keeling over and dying. Also, the body on the train track, that because he kind of when you saw it, he kind of rolled. There was no one pushing him onto the track. He kind of rolls over onto it. But barring that piece of movie magic, I was like, okay, here comes some gore, because the train starts to move, and you see the hat getting crushed. And I think you see the hand or the feet start to get run over. And then they cut to
they actually
shot.
Ran over like the wheel. Is it a wheel? Yeah. Runs over the hand.
Yeah.
And you can tell it's rubber.
Yeah.
Because they didn't cut fast enough.
But that could have been forgiven if there was a whole body just exploding, like the thing go. But they cut. They didn't show anything. And I'm like, what? Oh no.
Yeah. I was like, okay, fine.
You should have made him still alive trying to crawl out of the way. You didn't have to even show that, but it would have been like way cool if you did and just had like the camera pan away and hear crunching sounds, maybe a shot of his face trying to scream, and then the train whistle blows or something. Like, who the fuck is making this movie? Get him on the phone.
Oh, the fucking making this movie.
As the train journeys into the wilderness, the killer wanders amongst the students who believe him to be Ed. So kids are settling in. Ed, I got this from Wikipedia. There's not a lot to go on here yet. Again, Wikipedia. So the kids are settling in. Ed or the killers wander around in his Groucho mask. Jamie Lee Curtis and her hot friend are settling in. No boobies yet. And to be fair, we're just starting. I would have been pleasantly surprised, but if they broke into a pillow fight or something, but
as you do on a train on New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
I thought that's how that worked. Everyone segues right into party mode pretty easy.
Yeah.
And they have all different types of costumes, like from dominatrix and leather mask to
they're going for it.
Yeah, they're enjoying themselves. And the conductors are settling in. They throw some geopolitics about the price of gas and coal trains. And the engineer is like, soon everyone will be riding trains because of gas price. And the other's like, you're an idiot. They were right. He is an idiot. Although if someone told them the price of gas back then.
Yeah.
Now. Okay. Wikipedia back there. In the sleeper bathroom, he murders Jackson. Okay. Okay. Let's rewind a bit because that's at like the 30-minute mark, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay. We meet David Copperfield. And
yes,
I did write down some stuff here. This is his only TV or film role. And he was all over TV in the 80s and 90s, early 90s. Yeah. His shows were like, he had those specials. And I wrote down here because this guy was popular. I remember hearing about him and I remember seeing a couple things, but apparently people loved him.
He was incredibly big.
Yeah. Copperfield's television specials have been nominated for 38 Emmy Awards, winning 21. Best known for his combination of storytelling and illusion, his career of over 40 years has earned him 11 Guinness World Records, a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and a knighthood by the French government. Oh, so it's not a real knighthood. He has been named a living legend by the U.S. Library of Congress. His illusions have included the disappearance of a Learjet, the vanishing of the reappearance of the Statue of Liberty, levitating over the Grand Canyon, walking through the Great Wall of China, escaping Alcatraz, the disappearance of an Orient Express dining car, and flying on stage for several minutes. As of 2006, he has sold 33 million tickets and grossed over $4 billion, more than any other solo back in 2006 in history by a large margin. And 2015, Forbes listed his earnings at 63 million every 12 months. When not performing, he manages his chain of 11 resort islands in the Bahamas.
Oh, I didn't know that about him.
Yeah. And also for some added trivia, I did find out he was careful in what tricks he used because of the small sets. He didn't want to give away any of his secrets. So every illusion he did was an actual one of his illusions, and the cast and the extras had no idea what it was going to be.
Oh, fantastic. I like that.
Yeah, and his tricks might have been the highlight of this movie.
They really were. They really, really were.
Train conductor Thorne, who played Mr. Mason in Red Dawn.
Yeah,
found that out, along with a shitload of other movies. Yeah, trivia not pertaining to this actual movie, but this episode. While I was looking up the actors who played Mo and Doc, I mistakenly thought Ben Johnson, who plays the conductor, was the actor played by Doc. And I was looking at the picture going, Jesus Christ, this guy fucking aged horribly. So the guy who played Doc, I apologize.
Hart Bachner.
Yes.
Who apparently is, I don't want to say a Nepo baby, but kind of, because his father, Lloyd Bachner, I think it was.
Sounds like a good name.
I saw a picture of him. All Canadian, born in Toronto. Both, what's his nuts? Hart Bachner, and also his father and his mother, who apparently was also a classically trained pianist. But Lloyd Bachner, I saw his picture when I was looking up Hart Bachner, and I was like, you look so familiar. Where do I know you from? He was on Dynasty. That's where I remembered him from. And I was like, shit. He was also a very good looking man, just like his son. But also, I think we've all seen Timothy Weber, who plays Mo.
Yes.
You've seen him in everything.
Yeah, he's been in quite a bit. And then train conductor Karn finds Jackson's body still wearing his lizard costume. Okay, so we know that the killer is Kenny. Kenny is the shy and a little on the smaller side.
But we don't know for sure that the killer is Kenny.
No, we don't know for sure, but
There's
even
still a who is it?
yeah. But Jackson is a much bigger man.
Well,
Yet
yeah.
when confronted, Jackson screams like a bitch.
True.
And Kenny just grabs him and slams in the mirror. And I'm looking, am I the only one not buying this?
Well, no,
And
I gave it a moment because I was like, Jackson was shocked because Kenny takes off his mask. So then he sees who it is. But I was like, and then he slammed his head into the mirror.
And
then
a
just tossed
goreless
him around
murder.
somewhere. Yeah.
Which is a running theme in
Yes.
this movie, unfortunately.
Yeah. They skipped it
Yeah.
all.
When Karn returns to the scene with Breakerman Charlie,
Mm-hmm.
the killer has hidden Jackson's body and is now posing in the lizard costume. Charlie and Karn believe him to be simply drunk. So he walked in, there's blood.
Yep.
He's like, he put his finger on to check his pulse. He's like, oh no, he's dead. And he ran back and got the other guy. They came back and they opened up the door and his arm was moving and no blood, nothing like that. Where the fuck did he put the body? Like, this is the killer.
So quickly.
Yeah. This was a bathroom.
Cleaned up the entire bathroom.
Yeah.
Moved the body. And I was like, where did it go?
And the blood off the costume.
Yeah.
And this
Everything was perfectly clean.
Yeah, and this bathroom was high demand. Like, tons of people were trying to get into this thing.
Very true. People were walking by it constantly.
Yeah.
I think someone would have noticed if someone was carrying a body out of the bathroom.
The killer either tossed him off the train, pretended to move him, like because he was helping him, and changed costumes somewhere. And this was stupid.
I was like, this feels not very accurate, but okay.
No. Wikipedia. The killer kills Mitchie in the compartment. Karn finds a corpse during a magic show. Doc finds Mo dead. Wow. Wikipedia is not wasting.
Wikipedia is like, fuck this shit. You get no details.
Yeah, this movie felt a lot longer. Okay. We also got Doc we go back a bit. Doc writing out on his best buddy Mo about something. Like, already by this time, I'm not 100% on why Jamie Lee Curtis Alana was so angry at Mo, but I'm just assumed it was for the same reason me watching this movie and her having to be in it. But Doc is not a good friend.
Doc is a shitty friend.
Why was she so mad at Mo? Like,
here's why, because Mo pitched this as he planned the party.
Right. Okay.
And it was his idea. But apparently it was Doc's money that was paying for it, and he had the idea to like do it on a train or whatever. And Alana made the promise after the whole Kenny Hampson thing that she was never going to go to another one of Doc's parties. Because the corpses and the guy getting all and then kind of hanging himself. It was a whole thing. And she was very traumatized. So she was like, I'm never going to one of his parties again. So she has always walked out of his parties.
Right.
So Doc was like, we're on a train. You can't walk out now.
Yeah.
And she's all like, I hate you.
And then meanwhile, the killer lures Mitchie. What kind of name is Mitchie?
It's Michelle, short for Michelle.
Is it really Mitchie?
Yeah, that they say this. My friend Michelle, Mitchie.
Oh, okay.
Well, I think at this point, if I'm not mistaken, because Jamie Lee Curtis, Alana, gets mad at Mo and Doc, because she's always mad at Doc. They all go to party, right? But she's still mad at Mo. So she's making googly eyes at the magician. Yeah. She's all like, oh, hey. And he's all like, hey, without actually talking. And then Doc and Mo start hitting on these two girls, and then they walk off together.
Yeah.
And then Mitchie is like, because Alana's like, where's Mo? I want to go find Mo. Mitchie had seen them walking off. And instead of being a good friend and following girl code and being like, yo, your man just walked off with some other chick, you better go catch him. She's all like, let's go the opposite way and like go get a drink and whatever. So they did that. And then Mitchie ends up walking away at some point with a guy, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, she runs into Groucho, who lures Mitchie in with a joint.
Yes.
And I actually had a real severed finger in there. Still no boobies.
No boobies. I'm sorry.
And this is Slasher 101. Like, if you're not the final girl, you show some titty before you die. But she doesn't die yet.
No, she does not.
Before this, we get Doc and Mitchie.
They might be together, might not.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
They're
Because
flirting.
they go to
but
use the
not.
bathroom, it's locked with the lizard dude in it. Mo and
Yeah.
Alana watch some magic by Copperfield.
Yes,
Copperfield's doing some magic with some groovy disco music playing.
as you do.
The conductor, Karn, spends a lot of time with Jamie Lee Curtis for some reason.
They're really turning into best buddies in this movie.
Yeah. Mo and Doc take off with, like you said, with the two girls. And I'm positive I'm going to see some boobage because Mo and Alana got into another fight. Mitchie sees them leaving with the bimbos.
Mhm.
She's like, whatever, let's dance. Horrible dancing commences. Yeah, like I could blend into those dance routines. Like, it was bad. The conductor finally gets into the bathroom. The body was on the ground, blood everywhere. We already talked about that. His pulse,
Yep.
no pulse. Now, Mitchie actually helps because when they come in, they just say, "Oh, he's drunk in the lizard costume." Mitchie's actually there to help, thinking it's Jackson, and takes him back
Yeah.
to another compartment. She totally takes advantage of Jackson, or so she thinks. Like he's
True.
all drunk, and she's like, "Hey." So she sees the hand. It's black.
Yeah.
So the killer also had time to sever the hand.
Uh-huh.
And he's using it to grope Mitchie.
Yep.
This all sounds better than it was.
It does.
I think I saw the actor trying to hook the severed hand finger to the bra to pull it down, but he couldn't
Yeah.
get it. So no titty. But
Sorry.
what did she say? She's like, you know what they say about cold hands? Because the hand's cold.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. It wouldn't be cold because it's only been
Yeah, it wasn't
dead
like it was
for like
hours.
an hour. Not even an hour.
No.
It's probably like a half an hour. It'd still be warm.
Cold hands, warm penis. Oh.
Oh, jeez.
Because I'm sitting there going, what? This doesn't. So then she sees it's a severed hand.
Yeah. She freaks out.
Yeah. Yeah. And yes, another goreless murder because she goes to scream, puts the hand over her
Yeah.
mouth, and then it cuts. So another goreless.
We don't see it happening at all. We don't even see a fight. Because apparently nobody knows how to fight back when you're about to die.
Yeah.
They all just kind of let it happen.
Yeah. And you can leave some things to the audience's imagination, not the entire movie. This is like a book. I'm doing all the work here. I have to imagine the gory death. I have to imagine the titties. Like, come on, man.
This is like a book. Oh my God.
Then Elena, Jamie Lee Curtis interacts with David Copperfield. It comes across a little creepy. Or is he trying to be mysterious? Like, I know he's trying to be like this mysterious magician. It's kind of coming across as, dude, I don't trust you.
Well, here's the thing.
I want to let you drive me home.
Oh God, I wouldn't let him drive me home either. Eventually it makes sense, but it does come off a little bit creepy, but not like full creep.
Yeah. I don't know if they were trying to, because I was wondering at the moment, and we'll hit this later. I was wondering, are you trying to play with the audience? Like maybe he's the killer? Because he looks nothing like that dude at the beginning.
They are though. That's
Yes.
part of it.
Yeah. And Doc shows up. Yeah, exactly. Doc shows up, tells Alana he's sorry, and so is Mo, and he's waiting for her in the senior's car. What a dick.
Such a dick.
And Mo is in there with that blonde. I'm like, finally, we see some boobs. 2 seconds.
Yeah.
But there were boobies.
And that was all the boobies you're gonna get.
That was it. So goreless, tittyless.
You poor thing.
That's a good magic trick.
This is true. This is very true.
Then we catch more magic from Copperfield. It's like the director was like, I know the script is shit and we have no budget for gore and the acting is iffy at best. This magic is pretty good. We should shoot a lot of this.
Honestly, yeah.
Like Grizzly 2 at the music festival, or George Lucas when he found the wipe effect. Karn discovers Mitchie. I'm surprised he just didn't think she was drunk. And then Elena comes by and he drags her through like 10 carts just to tell her that her friend is dead.
Yes. And then tell her not to look, even though he brought her directly to where she is.
Yeah. And yeah. And then she stops at the car with her boyfriend, Mo, and is knocking at the door. Mo is like, put those titties away. You're going to get me in trouble. Mo goes to yell at Doc for trying to set him up.
This really irked me because I'm like, you just got set up by your friend. But first of all, you shouldn't have been in that sleeper car with the girl in the first place. But anyways, he manages to not be a total douchebag to his girlfriend by not looking at the titties. Then he goes to yell at Doc, but it's a whole, you're such a jerk. I can't believe you did that. And then it's over.
Yeah.
Then they're best friends watching magic.
And then they're watching some more magic. I'm beginning to think David Copperfield was the financial backer of this film. He's like, I'll give you the money to do it, but I got to be in it for
at least half of it.
Yeah, at least half of the movie.
Doing magic.
Mo is killed, and I either missed it or they didn't show it. And I didn't
show it.
Okay, because I picked up my remote, aimed it at the TV, and was like, meh. I put down the remote. I didn't rewind.
I rewound it 3 times because I was like, I must have missed that because they're watching the magic. All of a sudden, his head is down while Doc is, pretending to snore because he's trying to be like, oh, I'm so cool. I'm so cool. This is so boring. Ugh. Yeah. I was like, how old are you? 4? Like,
I really had a hate on for this magician.
He really did. And I was like, why are you so why?
And if you pay for everything, you fucking hired him.
But that's the thing. He's like, I didn't hire a magician. And then Mo, earlier in the movie, he's like, I didn't hire a magician. And Mo's like, I have some great ideas too. And you're like, did you hire the magician? Like, what the fuck? But anyways, Doc is super pissy about the magician. I have a theory that Doc actually has a thing for Elena. And Elena does not have it, kind of hates Doc. Yeah. But because Elena's making googly eyes at the magician, Doc has an extra hate on for him. I was like, I'm trying to fill in the blanks because Lord knows the dialogue is not doing it.
Yeah.
So anyways, Doc pretends he's snoring because this is so boring. And then all you see is Mo's head down.
Yeah.
I rewound that part because I realized that must have been when he gets killed. I was like, you never see him. Like 1 second his head is up, the next it's down. And you're like, when?
And there was nothing to explain it later on. I'm like, I either admit, but I didn't. I was going to rewind. I'm like, I don't know.
It's okay.
That's how disinterested I became this movie. So he was like, Mo, no, Mo. Picks him up like an alpha. He is. Yeah. And then begins to scream like a girl.
Can we talk about this?
Screamed so high pitched.
Also,
I was like, dude, what are you doing?
He's supposed to be a doctor.
Yeah.
This man is supposed to be in charge of people's medical care.
Yeah.
And I'm like, he can't even do first aid? Can't even do first aid.
Actually, everyone around him is in the medical profession, are they not? Like they're all from the
majority
same school.
Of the Well, it's funny because I think the fraternity is a medical student or a pre-med medical student fraternity.
Yeah.
So all of them should have medical training of some sort, at least basic first aid.
Yeah.
But this fool just picks up Mo and like runs. Carries him through the train. And you're just like, screaming. I don't think you should do that.
And all the alpha he had evaporated with every high-pitched scream. He gets to the cart with Karin, the conductor, and Elena, puts him down, and like for being pre-med, he's doing a piss poor job. Elena's trying to help, but Karin is just holding her back like repeatedly. And I'm sitting there I'm laughing in anger. Like, isn't she like a doctor, pre-doctor, or a nurse or something along that effect? Is she not?
I don't think she is. However, she's making a lot more sense than this motherfucking doctor who is literally, he's like, it must be his heart. And she's like, he's bleeding. It's not his heart. And he's like, no, I don't know what's wrong. And she's like, he's bleeding.
But I'm like, the conductor, dude, they're almost all med students. Let them fucking go and do their shit. Although they're not doing a great job.
No, they're not.
And I made a note. I am grabbing the remote at this point and going, holy shit, there's 37 minutes to go. Fuck me. Correct. They put on the brakes. Wikipedia has none of this. The train slams on the brakes. Kids go flying. The band goes flying. David
As you-
Copperfield goes flying, not to
Yep.
mention his swords. I don't think we saw that gem of a trick. Everyone is ordered off. The conductor orders the other conductors or whatever they're called.
Yeah.
And there was a few of them. And he's like, find this guy. Not even thinking that the killer could just be wearing a costume and Xing with the kids. Everyone is cold. Then the smartest thing about this movie, I thought, they start going down a list of names of people, but they're not separating them. They're like,
No.
they're not saying, when I call your name, come over here.
No.
They're just like, yeah, okay. And that's not going to catch anybody. Fucking dolls.
Also, the way that they're searching the train,
Oh,
they're literally just walking.
yeah.
They're not actually, and if they open up a door, they just look into the room and then
Yeah.
keep walking. There are closets, there are bathrooms.
Yeah.
They're not looking behind curtains in
No,
every
they're-
like sleeper. None
No.
of that. They're just
They're
walking.
expecting the killer to be standing in the middle of the room going, you got me. Oh, fuck.
Oh God, it was terrible.
Yeah. Yeah. Elena is telling Doc that it is Kenny because of the prank, because they're outside now.
Yeah,
And I guess she convinces them because those two go, Doc and Elena go back in the train and lock themselves in a cart room.
well, I think he shoves her in there.
Yeah.
Like,
But
they're
you don't see
still
him
on the train.
No, because they were outside freezing, talking.
Oh, were they?
So they went outside and then they went back in. And I don't know if it was a continuity error where they're like, oh, fuck, the only conversation we have of them talking about Kenny is the outside one.
Yeah.
So now we have to use this one. Fucking movie. So anyways, they go into that room. He starts
Yep.
locking it.
Yeah.
And this is nitpicking, but the poster had the kids starting a bonfire outside the train. Just never happened. I was a little pissy at this. False advertising. And then
Fuckers.
Elena's bitching, and then Doc's like, fine, get out, and because he's a dick, and pushes her out and locks the door. She sees someone coming down the train with an axe.
Yeah.
She's like, let me in, let me in. He's like, fuck that. And she runs, and it's just another conductor.
But also, I'd like to point out, because Elena's yelling while he's locking everything up, and she's like, we should be with everybody else.
Yeah.
We should be with everybody else. And he's
Yeah.
like, no, one of them's a killer. One of them's a killer. And she's like, no. We should be with it, because when you're with a very large group of people, usually when someone tries to kill you, except if you're Mo, people will see this.
Yeah.
But anyways, so he does push her out eventually, but it's after he pushes her in, which fucking, like, this whole movie just
Yeah.
confuses me. So anyways, she gets pushed out, and then that's when, after he's locked himself into this room, is when he decides to check it.
And I made a note. This is one of the fucking stupidest cat and mouse I have
Yep.
ever seen. Is the killer in the room with you? Doc thinks he is not alone, and he's paranoid someone is in the room with him. And he's like
Yep.
you said, now he's deciding to check it. And this is a
Now-
tiny little room.
It's super tiny.
If you ever seen a movie or been on a train, this is a double room at best,
Yeah.
but really small. And he's looking in the tiny closets. Then he grabs
Mhm.
that coat rack thing, and he's like, maybe you're here. And he starts jabbing the tiny space above.
Yep.
And then he falls down. He's leaning up against the bed, and then he's thinking that's under bed in the other room, and he's getting
Yeah.
all paranoid. And then what happens?
He gets up to go check under the other bench/bed thing. And then
And
from
the-
underneath the one he was sitting on, a hand comes out and grabs his ankle.
Yes, and he screams. He screams like a 10-year-old choir boy who's being used as currency in an all Catholic priest poker game. He
Woo!
couldn't be more screaming. That
That was oddly specific and super unsettling. Your little
Well, yeah,
comparison. Could you?
that I'm having so much fun shitting on this movie. This movie
Yeah.
was not anywhere near this fun.
No.
The hand comes down because he's screaming,
Yes.
and Doc is like, "Oh, Mitchie, it's you." And the hand has nail polish, I believe the same color as Mitchie was wearing,
I think so. Yeah.
and the ring, I'm guessing that is Mitchie's as well.
I guess so.
And Doc's like, "Oh, it was a prank." Ha ha.
Yeah.
The hand grabs him by the hair, pulls back his head, slits Doc's throat, and blood is sprayed everywhere. His tongue falls back and then comes back out of the gigantic slit in his throat. He tries to scream, but because he's a bitch and blood is spraying everywhere and the tongue is just wagging, and none of that happened. Because the killer just pulls back the dog's hair and it cuts again.
That was the movie that was happening in your head.
Yes. Yeah, that was.
It wasn't happening on the screen.
No, not at all. Another goreless death.
Correct.
Now we're back to Wikipedia. Karn and Charlie. Who the fuck is Charlie? Is that the friend?
Is it the friend? No, I think it might be actually one of the other porters or conductors. I think it was a porter on the thing.
Okay. Oh, wait. Alana finds a conductor again and says it's the magician.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember, but my movie immune system is already trying to block this movie from my memory. Karn and Charlie discover two of the crew members. This is Wikipedia dead. They sequester the students into a car while Pullman porters find the corpse of another student. Suspecting Kenny, Alana recounts to Doc her attempt to visit Kenny at the hospital. Oops, I went right past Wikipedia. Where she learned that he is disturbed and may have been involved in a murder at the hospital. Doc seals himself into the sleeper car, but is decapitated. Was he decapitated? Oh, was that the head see later?
That was the head that we see later. That was terrible.
Yeah. And
I was like, who is that supposed to be?
Yeah. Okay. Now, and we only know that because Wikipedia just told us.
Yeah.
Okay. You use Tom Savini, or this is what you get. You get Bush League amateur hour grade A horse shit. That was horrible effect. Horrible effect. Anna believes that the magician may be Kenny in disguise. Okay, so she thinks Kenny, the nerd from 3 years ago, now looks like David Copperfield.
Apparently.
Come on, Jamie Lee Curtis. The masked killer pursues her through the train. After finding the magician's dead body in his sword box, she realizes her theory was wrong and runs to inform Karn and Charlie. We also get that wiener kid who is like, I'll go get the killer.
Yeah, him.
I don't get that part, but I would have let him go.
I don't know either.
We also get the magician assistant coming out, and Karna's like, where's the magician? And she's like, he's right back here. They go back, and he's not there, but he's like, well, he's a magician, so we just fucking disappeared. Oh. They put Alana in a cart or a room to rest. The killer is back, goes to the room with Alana with an axe, and then hacks away at Alana, except it's the blow-up doll.
Yes.
Alana jumps out and runs the killer through with a sword. Yep. This feels like a 3-hour epic. Not the good one like Gladiator, like the shitty one like English Patient. I apologize if you like English Patient. I did not. No. But the killer is like, whatever, barely an inconvenience, chases her through the cars, bleeding. She gets into the car and tries to lock him out, but he pushes the door open. He locks it so no one else can get in. She's fucked. Mm-hmm. They fight. I will say Alana puts up a better fight than anyone else in this movie.
She really does. Yeah. Considering nobody else puts up a fight.
Ew. They are both now covered in red paint. Memories of Grizzly popping in my head. She kicks him off and then sprays him with a fire extinguisher. He looks like the witch from the Wizard of Oz melting. Just screaming. She locks herself in that mini jail, that little area completely caged in. She is just covered in red paint. You think the killer would have bled out by now. He's whacking the light bulbs out to make it more atmospheric. It's a very considerate killer when it comes to the audience. He jabs that pole through the cage, misses. Wait, let me check Wikipedia to see if we caught up. Nope. She grabs what is that thing called? Okay, boys and girls, before phones and Google, the Google screens in the kitchen or Alexa tablets, we had to write notes. Yes. If you were at home, you put them on a fridge with a magnet or a chalkboard or an oversized calendar. On a train, you put them on that spike thing. I don't know what that's called. It's just a spike, and you take your note and put it down.
I think they still have that at restaurants.
Yeah, at restaurants too, where they would put like the order.
When they finish the ticket, they stick it through the spike thing.
Right.
So I think maybe on the Bear, people have seen it.
I haven't seen that newest.
I haven't seen the newest season yet either.
So forward to seeing it.
I know. I'm waiting until I can like devote an entire afternoon to just watching it.
Yeah, just watch all of them.
Yeah, with some good takeout. I'm like, I'm just gonna power through, probably watch both seasons back to back just because I can.
Yeah. Anyways, She grabs that and puts it right into his face.
Yeah.
It's like a foot long. He screams. She leaves the mini jail. He grabs her, but she pulls away. Atlanta makes it all the way to the conductor, who again puts her into a room by herself. He might as well just toss her off the fucking train, all the good he's doing, leaving her alone. Her friend, the scantily clad one, is with her. The killer, the fucking Spider-Man, is crawling down the side of the train, like on the outside past the window.
Yes.
Run through with a sword, fire extinguisher fluid in his eyes.
Yeah.
A foot-long spike was just shoved into the side of his face. The upper body strength and pain tolerance of this fucker. Her friend returns again for what I thought was going to be a kiss and a tickle fight, but no. She's like, why don't you just... No. She's like, why don't you just come out here with us? And Elena's like, okay. And then she waits a bit, and then she comes. Her friend's gone.
Yep.
Then her other friend, is that the Charlie guy? The guy that's always the nice guy that's always talking to her?
I don't think so.
Well, he's like, why don't you come with us so you're not alone?
Here's the we'll give him that. I'm trying to confirm this, but I don't think it was. And here's why I say that. Because there is actually somebody, a jazz player, Charlie Biddle, who plays one of the porters in this movie. He ends up getting killed at some point.
Well, we see
after the one that had the
sword through. Yeah.
So he gets killed during that, and I think he's but I don't know who the other guy is.
Okay, so
this is terrible. I don't know who the other guy is.
I was half expecting this to be all one big prank on her.
Honestly,
it would have made no sense, but neither does this movie really.
It feels like a not a nightmare per se, because nightmares are scary.
Then she's hanging out, I think, at the caboose, just watching looking out the window or something. And then she goes back in. Then there's a bump and the sword box open. There's Copperfield with swords sticking in him. She runs looking for the conductor and finds her friend. She sits down. Her friend grabs her tightly. It's not her friend, it's the killer. And the killer in her friend's outfit, his costume.
Yeah.
Again, a quick, goreless, well off camera kill and costume change. We did not see her friend get killed, nothing. And it happened very quickly, as all of these did. And not only is the killer Kenny from the beginning, like she thought, but Kenny was dressed like a woman and he was Copperfield's assistant.
Yes.
Blood cleaned up, a bit of a mark on his cheek.
Yeah.
No blood anywhere. He probably bandaged himself up. No real noticeable blood loss. He looks fine. Elaine is like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. He's like, kiss me. And she does. Wait, let's check Wikipedia. Okay, cool. She instead finds Kenny, who is indeed the killer, dressed in Charlie's uniform. Okay, anyways, at her friend's uniform. Having killed him, Kenny reveals a blonde wig, and she realizes he has been posing in drag as the magician's female assistant the entire time. Elaine apologizes about the prank, but he refuses to accept it and forces her kiss to him. Well, to be fair, he asked her to kiss him.
True.
This is a huge trauma trigger. Because the kiss causes Kenny to relive his trauma from the prank, and he suffers a mental breakdown. Yeah, because this some bitch went nuts. He was screaming. Yeah. He gets wrapped up in some blanket. I don't know how or why. I know it mimics the beginning of the film.
Yeah.
Karn comes in and beats the shit out of him with a shovel, causing him to fall out the open door to his death. His body lands
in the river.
And the train roars off. I did like that scene of the body falling out of the train, down the
and
bridge,
then the hit, and then it floating down the river. I'm like, I like that.
That was good.
Yeah. And I think I made a note. I was like, that hit on the icy riverbank. Ouch.
Yeah.
Because that you heard that, and I was like, that's no fun.
And that was our movie.
You guys.
Not a great way to end the year, movie wise.
No, not really. Now I need a palate cleanser.
Yeah. Yeah. What's your score?
I think this is a stream it, but with prejudice. Stream it with prejudice. Like, It is not a good movie. It does not stand up well. It's not an exceptionally good slasher movie. It's not a good thriller. You're not where it does have its moments, and there is a storyline underneath there. It just wasn't executed well. But I still think it's a classic. It's a movie that comes up a lot in conversations about horror and about things. So I think it's one of those where you should watch it just to watch it, but don't pay money for it. Don't pay money for this. It's terrible. But I mean, stream it if you get the chance.
Yeah, and it's on a couple streaming services, so
Yeah,
you do have the chance.
but don't go searching for it, please, guys. Don't think to yourself, I want to watch a movie today, and a good use of my time will be to watch Terror Train. No. However,
Yeah.
if you have to do laundry or reorganize your bookshelf, feel free to put Terror Train on in the background. It's not like you're going to miss anything, because you can't see any of the murders.
No. Okay, my score.
Yeah.
This was painful. This movie dragged, overflowing with bad acting, horrible dialogue. I'd like to say bad effects, but it was lacking in this department so much. It was a crime. When you say slasher, even late 70s, early 80s, red paint or not, I'd like to see some effects, some creativity. This had absolutely none, and absolutely no creativity in the kill department. A neat premise, sure, like Halloween on a Train which was how it was sold. Horrible execution. Horrible execution. I could see why 20th Century Fox didn't pursue slasher films for a while after this. It was long, like an hour and 37 minutes, because it felt a lot longer than that. But in the end, this movie was too slow and void of any creative kills to be even a semi-decent slasher, and too dumb and boring to even be a low-grade thriller. I say skip it. This movie sucks.
I say I obviously watch it to enrich your horror education.
You'll definitely appreciate other movies.
Yeah, but if you're not interested in that, then skip it. But I mean, if it's free on a streaming service you already own or you're already using, then sure, why not?
Yeah, if you're
they
hardcore
do-
into slashers,
yeah.
I mean, it has its place to see. Sure.
Yeah, it's definitely something to watch to further, like, round out your, I don't want to say information, your knowledge. To round out your knowledge of slashers and horror films, for sure. But if you're looking for something entertaining to watch, this is not it. This is not the one. However, I will say, I'm pretty sure I've watched the new one.
Oh, right. Yeah, the new one.
It came out last year.
Can't be any worse than this. I mean,
I
it can.
remember liking it.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
Maybe they have some gore.
am I drunk?
We even said in the preview, like, even if it's a by the book, follow the numbers slasher, it still would be great.
It
Or
was not,
good.
though.
But it wasn't, no.
It went way, just to be punny, way off the rails.
Yeah.
Way off the rails. But now I want to watch the remake slash, I think it's a remake.
Yeah, because they
I
made
wanna
a
watch it.
sequel to the remake.
I think
Tubi
this
made
is-
a Terror Train 2. They got Terror Train,
Yeah,
and
but
then they
I
made
think-
a sequel.
I think it's just Terror Train. I think it started as Terror Train 2, but now it's listed as Terror Train, which is so weird.
No, I think they're. I could be wrong, and I don't want to give people the wrong.
No, I just looked it up. Yo.
Terror. Oh, did you?
Yeah, Terror Train 2022. It follows a college student as she boards a party train for Halloween and ends up fighting for her life when a mysterious assailant begins killing the people one by one. So I guess it's a remake.
The remaining. No, see, and I have number 2 on Tubi. The remaining survivors are coerced to take a New Year's Eve redemption ride on the very same train where a new evil awaits, and terrified passengers must once again fight to survive the ride.
IMDb is lying to us.
Because Terror Train, yeah, because we have the first one and then the second one, and they're all filmed in the same year. Yeah, because the first one says Halloween, the second one is a
Oh.
redemption ride on New Year's. So you got 2 Terror
What?
Trains.
We have 2 new Terror Trains?
Yeah, all the same actors, so I guess they don't die in the first one.
Oh, that's nice.
Robin Alomar and Mary Walsh. Oh, Mary Walsh. I think Mary Walsh dies. Robin Alomar doesn't, though. Whoever that is.
They live.
Obviously, the final girl.
Then have I seen Terror Train 2? Is that the one I watched?
Did
I
it take
think that's
place
the
on
one
New
I-
Year's?
Yeah, that one takes place on New Year's.
Oh, then you need to watch the first one. On
Then I need to
Halloween.
watch the first one.
Might make more sense.
Well, no, I got it.
Oh, okay.
Because
Well, yeah, it's not
they
rocket science.
reference the last time they were on a train, and it's funny because the main character is super like traumatized by it, obviously, and she's like, I don't know if I can do this. And her roommate's like, no, it'll be good for you, it'll help you heal, yada yada yada, and it's like a whole thing. But now I know exactly what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna hop on Tubi and I'm gonna watch Terror Train
Terror Train number 1.
number 1-ish, 1.5.
Yeah. Yeah, I give it a go just to see if it's gotta be better than it's gotta be at least. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, you can only go up from here.
Yeah.
You can't get shittier than this movie
No.
unless you're Steel Dawn.
Yeah. They should remake it.
Just
Yeah, I get pitched it to Tubi. They're gonna be like, we've seen the original. We don't see it being very.
we don't want to do that. Oh God. Oh yeah, that's fantastic.
All right, so we have a stream it with Extreme Prejudice and a
Yes.
skip it. So that's it. Unless you want to add anything else to Terror Train.
Not to Terror Train, but I do want to say Happy New Year, everybody, and may 2024 be filled with better movies than this.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for watching us, and until the next movie we remember liking.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home. home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.